Hi, everyone. This is another episode of the Ink Post podcast, and I'm really excited to be here with our special guest today. I was so happy that he was down to recording this episode with us. It is the founder of Inlumino Heart Ink cartridges, and you've probably seen them all over TikTok. You've probably seen them on social media. They kind of like went viral, and we got a pack, and we absolutely loved it. So we decided, okay, let's have this innovator on. It's a creative person. It's another founder. So we're like, okay, let's do this. And he agreed to get on. So I'm really excited to be recording this episode and finding out more about him. And I think it'll be beneficial for you guys too. So welcome to the Ink Post podcast.
Thank you. Yeah, it's great to be here.
Yeah, it's so nice to have you, and you stay kind of behind the scenes behind your business. Like, I feel like a lot of business owners in the tattoo industry are like in the forefront, and then we're
hmm
like, I was like, who's the founder? And his name is Corbin Briggs, and I feel
hmm
like it was hard to find your your socials
Yeah,
and stuff. You
I
stay
kind of
pretty
did
in the
that on
background.
purpose a little bit.
Yeah.
I never did like an apprenticeship or anything, and I know like tattoo artists don't like that, so I didn't want to I didn't want that to have some effect on how they viewed the product. But now I'm
No,
like, I feel more comfortable like sharing about the product because I'm like so confident in how it can help people, and it's just so fun to use too. So
yeah, and
I'm trying to show myself a little bit more. So
and I feel like it's almost like a power move to just let a really good product represent you too. Because I
hmm
feel like sometimes the product isn't so good, and so people try to like accessorize like everything around the product to get the product to show. It never really works out. So I just feel like you had a really strong product, and people really liked it. So it is kind of a flex. I mean, most people want to be in the backgrounds. Like, I don't really know who owns McDonald's.
right.
So what state are you from, and like how'd you get in the tattoo industry and stuff?
Yeah, I'm from Idaho originally, but I moved out to California like 4 years ago, Northern California, and yeah, I kind of just fell into tattooing. I always like was a creative person, and you know, I didn't really know the ropes of like, oh, you're supposed to get an apprenticeship and you're supposed to do this or that. So I kind of just bought a machine and started going at it. And then I realized, oh, I don't know anything. Like probably 6 months in, I realized, wow, this is like way more intense than I realized. And I started getting more of a respect for it. And then started reaching out to artists in the town where I'm from and kind of learning a little bit from them. I still never did an apprenticeship, um, and yeah, I
I
did
could
that.
get an apprenticeship if that makes you feel better. Like you could.
Okay, yeah, that does make me feel better. Anyway, yeah, I tattooed for like 3 years. That was like my um, main source of income and job, and I really loved it because I could just I one worked for myself. I as soon as I started doing that, I was like, man, I'm never gonna work for someone again. Two, I could make my own hours, and three, I got to like express my creativity and get paid for it, which was so amazing. And someone getting tattooed, like they're so excited to get tattooed, So it's like a win-win for everybody. They're having fun, I'm having fun, and then on top, I always would say like the cherry on top is I get paid after. So I
Yeah,
think,
sometimes it's hard to charge the customer. You're like, oh, I really enjoyed this. Like, I think
yeah,
that happened to me the other day.
hmm yeah, especially if they're like a cool like customer and you have fun talking to them. I mean, like, yeah, obviously I'm gonna charge, but like
Yeah.
it's so enjoyable.
No, absolutely.
But yeah, that kind of led into my two other businesses. I don't know if you've seen my other social media. It's just called Brigz Tattoos, Briggs Tattoos. And I have about 270,000 followers on TikTok and then 109,000 on Instagram.
Whoa.
Uh, and that kind of started before this. And that like basically what I do is I create tattoo ideas, and
Oh
then
wait,
sell
I
like
did see that. I did see that.
yeah,
They're
and then I'll
really
sell
cool.
like the
Like, they have like a
JPEGs.
cowboy theme on some stuff, right?
Yeah, it's like really inspired from like how I grew up and the music I listened to. So that was like the first business, and that I actually enjoyed doing that more than tattooing. I love tattooing, but just designing and drawing like all day is so fun to me. So yeah, the doors were kind of open for that. And then like the year previous, I had been working on this product. And so when the doors opened for like the Briggs tattoos, drawings and selling all that, and I started making good money from that, I was able to fund um, like buying the units and hiring designers and paying for patent attorneys and all that. So yeah, it was pretty cool how it kind of like how it worked out that way. So
Yeah, it kind of like, I think I can relate to that when in business, I feel like it's a sequence of events that you hope line up, but then you don't know how they're going to line up and you're just like rolling with it.
yeah.
But that's exciting. I know that like patenting a product is hard too, because we
Hmm.
went through that process with our skins, and I
Hmm.
feel like it's a long process, but then also you're like, you're hoping that the industry would respect like your unique idea too and like not copy you. You would just like hope that, but then they always like try to. Like we've even had like, and I don't like, I wanted to bring this up because I feel like your idea is pretty original, and I feel like nobody's had like the stencils printed on the skins before either. So I
Hmm.
feel like we both sort of had like tattooing patented special sort of ideas. And so like some of the obstacles that I feel like we ran into is I have them written down because I want to see if like you ran into like similar obstacles. And I feel like you already mentioned
Right.
one, but okay, so like the most ridicule we've gotten was, okay, people would say the main part of tattooing is being able to lay on the stencil. So we were getting ridiculed by like traditional tattoo artists saying, we've always practiced this way. You can't practice any other way. This is so wrong. You're making things easier for people. But like 90% of people loved our products. But we've had that
Yeah.
10% of people. And usually it's like Facebook commenters that are like, oh
Oh my
God,
gosh. I like roll my eyes every day at the comments.
they're like, oh God, they say stuff like, oh, it's so easy to get into tattooing now. There's no respect for the industry, stuff like that. And it's usually like old heads that don't even tattoo well. Like I always click to see their work, like to see if they're like decent at it. And
Oh,
it's
that's
it's
funny.
never awesome. So it's like I kind of just ignore it. But you're laughing, so I'm assuming you get some of that like
Oh, for
pushback.
sure. Yeah.
And then I think the second thing we run into is whether they like tell us or not, the second obstacle is like people trying to blatantly tell us like, hey, we want your product but we want our name on it. Are you willing to do that? Like we've had messages like that. Are you willing to like brand our products but like you make it? We just want to look like we make it, or
Hmm.
blatantly try to copy us. Like
I
with
I haven't had people ask me to like make the product for them, but yeah, I've had just like people kind of blatantly copy. I mean, it's a great idea, and honestly, when I first thought of it, I was like so anxious because I'm like, oh my God, this is such a good idea. Like, how do I like someone's gonna make this before I do for sure.
yeah.
But I just felt in my heart like I like the idea kind of just felt like an idea from God to me.
Oh my God, I love that. That's how I feel
Yeah.
about my
Oh
ideas.
wow. Okay. Yeah. So
Yeah.
yeah, it just popped in my head one day, and I like it was like so obviously from the Lord, and yeah, and He like told me too. I don't know if you think you can hear God or not, but
Yeah, no, I definitely like connect to that.
yeah. Okay. So
My
I
sister's laughing because I'm always talking about God. She's like
Like
sitting.
borderline schizophrenic.
She's borderline schizophrenic.
oh, that's funny.
Okay,
Yeah,
go ahead.
that's hilarious. Well, um, yeah, I had the idea, and like at the time, I wasn't making near enough money to like cover the fees for everything, and so I was just praying like, how am I gonna how am I gonna pay for this? Like, what's the solution? And I already like where I'm at, I'm connected to a lot of like pretty successful business people, and I had a few of them actually telling me like they'll straight up just pay everything for me, and they wanted a percentage. But I felt like God told me, no, don't do that. I actually will like provide all the money for you. And then like 3 months after that, all the design stuff kind of started happening, and so I didn't have to give any equity away, which was really cool. And yeah, it's been a really cool process of God just providing like all the people that I need, like my business partners. He's given me the idea, provided all the money for it. And now like, I'm just so amazed that, like, for instance, your account being on a podcast right now is amazing. And like, Oscar Akermo, he's an artist in, New York City. He has like,
him too.
yeah, he has like 500,000 followers. He's just an amazing artist, and he's
a good person.
Yeah, he's a great guy. And I had a buddy who went and worked at his shop, and my friend sends me a text of Oscar using the pen and says like he loves it and wants to connect with you. And he just sent me like a nice message saying that he bought some for his apprentice and his apprentice loved it. So anyway, I'm just saying like it's so cool seeing such talented people enjoying and using the product. But yeah, and then to your first question, I definitely have experienced people hating on it. They're like, it's paper. How can you practice with this? And this isn't going to teach you how to tattoo. And I'm like, of course it's not going to teach you how to tattoo, or like it's not skin, obviously it's paper. But there are valuable aspects to using this for practice that I feel like are obvious, but maybe they're not.
No, they're very obvious. I just feel like, we've been in the industry teaching for like, I don't know, maybe this is our 4th year. And I feel like me and my sister always have this conversation where like, how clear can we make something? Like, how definite can we make something? Because it'll be the simplest thing. And it's like, we have to make a how-to video on a lot of things.
Right. Yeah. We're definitely, well, I was talking to my ad manager, and he was just saying, well, maybe you should start making videos showing how to practice with it, just to like prove the people who are like, you can't practice with this, prove them wrong. But my ad manager, he had a great point. He's like, you don't go to the gym and expect to get ripped by just doing push-ups. Like, you have to go work out every muscle, and you have to do a bunch of different types of workouts to achieve the goal. And yes, some workouts are going to be better to get muscle than others, but overall you're going to be doing a bunch of different things. And so like, I kind of relate that to this. You're not just going to be practicing in one way, and one way isn't the only way that you're going to learn every aspect of whatever you're doing. So I think this is just, there's by no means it's going to teach you how to tattoo, but there's so many aspects that this can teach you, like learning how hand speed and voltage relate. And I think it's great because for me personally, I never tried any sort of realism. And when I got this pen, but honestly, I didn't try it because it was like, it's just scary to me. Yeah. And so when I got this pen, I was able to practice on paper and really get an idea of how I would take that to skin. Yeah. And I mean, there's so many other ways you can use this, but yeah.
No, I loved it. I opened up a cartridge, me and Kathleen at the studio, we started messing around with them, and I feel like it gave her the confidence of trying stuff she normally just doesn't do. Like, I feel like the first thing that product brings out of a person is it relates them back to, like, I think a lot of us started out as like just regular artists. Like, I think a lot of artists did not start out as tattoo artists. That typically doesn't happen. Like, you start out with oil or ink or pencil, and I think that confidence comes back once you put in that pen cartridge in the machine. You're like, oh wait, I could do this. But like, it's funny because Kathleen draws a bunch of realism in real life, but when it comes down to tattoos, she's scared. Like, they're intimidating, so she sticks to line work and stuff. And the second she started using the pen cartridge, I think the first thing she drew was like an eye with like, I think a hand. Like, she went for the normal stuff that she would do, and I think that is a confidence booster. I think when I opened it, I kind of really it made tattooing faster, I thought. So I just kind of started drawing things that I've been meaning to practice but didn't feel like spending like an hour session on, or like a
Cool.
2 hour
Yeah.
session on. So I really like them. I thought they were very cool. And has they always come in different colors, or do they?
No,
Uh,
we were only selling them in black and blue, and then um, yeah, we're like, what? We definitely need colors. So we literally just this Monday, our colors all got to our warehouse and are shipping out this week because we were doing pre-orders.
mhm.
And then eventually, so we have a 4-pack right now, and it's 2 black, 2 blue. We have a 6-pack, it's 3 black, 3 blue, and then we have a 10-pack of 5 different colors. But once our 4-packs run out, we're just going to replace those with 4-packs of one color, so
Mm.
people can like easily, if they're like red, they don't have to buy a whole new 10-pack or whatever. So it'll
Yeah.
be a little easier just to get whatever color you want.
I think too, like with product, when you launch a product, you try to launch it in the best way that you can imagine people want, but then they
Hmm.
tell you otherwise, or like you start to customize based on like their orders and like their feedback.
Right.
So like you grow with the customers. Like I feel like that relationship goes right together. So it's cool to hear your story because it's funny. Like it's so relatable.
Mm.
Like I really I love my favorite part is like when somebody tells me that they were able to have a spiritual connection with like the business connection, because I
Yeah.
just feel like sometimes I'm like, are other things just working through us, and
Hmm.
helping us like navigate life, or navigate like, it almost feels like automated. Like if you just listen, then
Mm.
it's on auto. Like I don't
Mm.
know. It's cool to see that other people are having like divine business experiences.
Yeah, I have a really good thing maybe you'll agree with, or it'll put a thought in your mind. But um, I just was thinking about the saying that the truth will set you free, and I was thinking like I've heard that said all the time, but what does that actually mean? And um, the truth sets you free from lies, and it sets you free from anything that's not the truth, which is a lie. And for me, what's been really cool is I feel like God has told me what's going to happen with my business and where it's going to go. And to me, that's the truth. Like I have no doubt in what I've been given and what I've been told from the Lord. And so that gives me confidence, even when other people release the same product or a big brand comes out with the same product. I'm like, I'm not even worried because I have God on my side. And like I don't know what you believe, but
No,
um,
I'm a big God believer.
okay, cool, yeah. So I mean, in the Bible, the Israelites go into their promised land, right? And they don't go in and just rest; they go in and fight giants. It says they go to war with giants. And so for me, I went through this season where I was like really trusting God. I didn't have a lot of money. Not that, I mean, you can trust God even with money, but I
Yeah.
was in a season where I was just trusting God with like every part of my life. And I considered that like a desert, you could say. And then he's brought me into like abundance, but there's still like giants to be fought. And the truth sets me free because I know that like I'm taken care of even if the odds are stacked against me. And it makes me think of like there's a Bible verse that says the fool builds his house on sand and the wise man builds his house on the rock, which is Jesus Christ and God. And in a storm, um, the man who builds his house on the rock will not be swept away, and that's because his life is built and founded on truth, which is God's word. And so because of that, I'm like, I'm not worried, and it's
Yeah.
not about me, like I think it's not. I think we often make our lives about ourselves and what we can gain, but I just want to do right by people, and I want to share the love of God with people. So I think
That's
I can,
amazing.
yeah, I think I can do that through my business, and that's all I want to do.
Yeah. No, I love that you share that. Like that's so moving. It's kind of nice to hear someone else say stuff like that, because too in business I feel like a lot of people won't say
Hmm.
stuff like that. So it's really refreshing, and I think the idea is refreshing. I think the perspective, like everything about it is refreshing, and I feel like there is a new generation of tattoo artists that are like younger, that are doing things in non-traditional ways, that
Mm.
are like, okay, well, yeah, this didn't exist before, but I feel like I can help people with this. Like, of course, this didn't exist before, but that's why this industry is so fun right now, because there's so much room to build. There's so
Mm-hmm.
many little pockets and doors, and I feel like every day I'm seeing like a new founder innovate something awesome, and it's like it's not like we're in a really old industry that has so many. I mean, every industry has room to growth, but there are some industries that are like saturated with
Mm-hmm.
lots of brilliant people studying that subject. So
Right.
I feel like it's a bit more competitive, but I feel like in the tattooing industry, because people cherish like the way things have been done and sticking to like that tradition of like, oh, you don't want to make that guy angry, you don't want to make that guy angry, so you better not do things differently. I feel
Mm.
like that kind of worked in our advantage as young people, because we're like, oh, okay, so nobody stepped up for that long. So thank you for making this door for me. And
Yeah,
it kind of
right.
like, I think that's why they're so mad, because they've like I don't you look young. I don't know how young you are,
I'm
but
23.
yeah, like 23, like that's my sister's age. You're literally so young. I'm so much older than you. But what's it called? Even I don't know, but like there are people who have been in the industry for 20 years, and the fact that like some people come in their 20s and like innovate and stuff, I think that's why some people hate too, like cuz they're like, we could have done that but we didn't. And it's
Mm-hmm.
I think that that has something to do with those negative comments. I don't think it has anything to do with like the product or anything. Not that those are even relevant. I think there's a lot more positivity that comes out of innovation.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think we went over like the the things I kind of was curious about, and honestly, I like the brand way more than I did before this interview, because I'm like,
Awesome.
oh my god, a god person made
Yeah.
that.
Wow.
My
Thank you.
sister's laughing in the background. Yeah, no, this is great. And I think we actually featured your product in our new courses that are coming out.
Oh,
Because,
wow.
yeah, so they're in the lessons. So anybody that watches our lessons is gonna,
No way. That's
yeah,
sick.
no, I'm serious. Because we're like, hey, you know what? People can practice with this tool. And we've been teaching for a while. So I kind of know that, like, people literally need to build up very small steps, like
Mm.
step. And
Yeah.
I think that there wasn't that many between steps back in the day. You
Mm-hmm.
just had to basically go from coil to fake skin. There was no printed fake skin, and then you went on person. And I feel like you can put in like three more steps between that
Mm-hmm.
before you go on a person. So I
Mm-hmm.
feel like the ink cartridge is something that people can benefit from. And I feel like, I don't know if you've noticed, but it's been getting more recognized in the permanent makeup industry as well.
Oh, really? I mean, I've
Yeah.
I've noticed that a lot of PMU people have started following the account, which has been cool.
Yeah, well, the thing is with permanent makeup, like there's the ombre technique, which is just going back and forth
Mm-hmm.
to practice dotting, and so you're building the brow with just like a bunch of dots. So it's like
Mm.
whip shading all the way. Sorry,
Very good.
and a bunch of people don't know how to whip shade because the speed of the needle and the speed of the hand is what really confuses them.
Right.
So I feel like that's what the pen cartridge really helps with. So
Mm.
if you're practicing like your pixel strokes or the pixel brows or all the current machine permanent makeup techniques,
Mm.
like I've seen a lot of instructors teach with them. I've actually seen a few people try to like replicate them, but I was like, wait, this is not the original.
The ballpoint pen cartridges?
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
there's a lot now, but we're patent pending right now, so we can't legally tell them not to. But um, hopefully, within a few months, we'll have the patent and we can send them cease and desists. So,
Yeah, no, that's great. I'm happy for you that you went about it like the legal way. But yeah, no, I mean, I think everybody knows that in Lumino. By the way, why is it called Inlumino?
it's like a Latin root of illuminate, and I kind of want to like for me when I'm doing art and creating, I feel like my heart is alive and on fire, with passion. So that's
I
kind of the
love that.
idea.
I
Yeah.
figured that's kind of what it was, and then when you were saying your story, it made sense because you're
Hmm.
like trying to connect light with your business.
Yeah.
I think that's kind of in like the heart. I
Mm.
kind of tried to do the same thing like with the Beauty Institute. I tied it into, well, it's not really biblical or godly, but it's supposed to be Aphrodite, which is
Mm.
like the goddess of beauty.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, it's not like I pray to her or anything.
Oh,
Yeah. All right. Well, I think this was a great episode. I really enjoyed learning about your cartridges, and I think that your business is probably going to do like even way cooler stuff in the future because you're like, holy shit, you're only 23, like, and you're here now. So it's like, oh, like, watch out by the time this guy is 30.
yeah. Thank
You
you.
know?
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.
We have some more products coming out too. We're gonna have paper that people can purchase with the pens. We're actually gonna have we're gonna have a machine that goes along with the pen, but we're gonna market it more towards people who just want to have fun and draw. Because I know there's a lot of people who don't want to be tattoo artists necessarily, but love that they could make stipple artwork. So we'll have a machine for that, and then yeah, we're gonna have the what are they called? Grips that adapt to cartridges that can fit in coils and
Great.
rotary
That's
machines.
awesome.
Yeah.
I'm glad that you're doing the paper thing because when I got the cartridge, I basically practiced on a stack of paper. But I
Hmm.
remember when I was in art class, I love watercolor, and so we used to practice on a thicker sheet made
Hmm.
for watercolor, and it
Yeah.
had texture in it.
Hmm.
So I have been meaning to get my. I still have a watercolor sketchbook. But I've been meaning to practice with your pen on that paper. So I
Hmm.
feel like your paper is probably going to feel like that thicker,
Yeah, it
like
is. Yep.
has maybe a bounce to it, like it's not too stiff, maybe like
Hmm.
a softer paper.
Yep.
That's going to be awesome. I really like that one girl. I think her name is like Wendy or something. She did the
Wendy.
it wasn't Wendy. It was like I forgot her name. It started with a W. She did like this insane stipple art. I think it might have been a gargoyle with the pen.
Oh,
It's
I
like
don't
a
know.
Japanese
The
thing.
Oni mask, the Japanese Oni
Yes,
mask.
yes.
Yeah, her name's Henrietta, and she's from Denmark. She's one of our sponsored artists, but she like every time she does something, I'm just like my mind is blown. I'm like, oh my gosh, someone's using my product to create something so cool. So
Yeah, no, that was insane. I think when I saw that, I was like kind of intimidated. I'm like, wait, whatever I do has to like look semi good because that's the standard. Like she pushed up the standard, like,
hmm
you know.
yeah,
Um, yeah, I don't want to take up more of your time. I know you're probably really, really busy. And this was like an amazing episode, really. So I'm gonna follow your other account, your Briggs artwork account,
cool.
and I'm sure we'll stay connected in the future. If there's any opportunity for like collaborations and stuff, I'm so glad to always like meet young innovators. So it's always like I'm just happy you gave me the chance to like learn more about your brand and just kind of hang out for a little bit.
Yeah, thanks for giving me the opportunity to speak, and I would love to see if there's any way I could see the uh, what are they called? The videos you shot with the pen for your online course. I'd love to see some of those. That would be awesome.
Yeah, for sure. I think we're gonna with the release of this podcast, in our MailChimp we send out like a newsletter. We're gonna feature like what where they can get it, what it does, pictures of like how they can practice with it, and then we'll post some content and tag you in it too of us using it for permanent makeup purposes. Because a lot of our students mainly do permanent makeup and tiny tattooing. So
Hmm.
I feel like it's just a really beneficial, unique, creative, interesting tool that everybody should know about.
Wow, thank you so much. I appreciate the
Yeah, no
opportunity.
problem. Yeah, it was so nice to hang out, and hopefully, you guys tune in on the next episode of the Ink Post podcast. Don't forget to like, follow, subscribe for more content like this. And again, if you'd like to purchase these cartridges, they're called Inlumino, so INLUMINO Heart Ink cartridges, and you can follow them on Instagram. They're a really awesome company. Shipping was pretty fast. And then also, don't forget to follow us on Instagram and social media at Beauty Institute. Yeah, and thank you guys so much for hanging out today, and hope to see you in the next episode.